Hello, Just Too Good here with a review of LEGO Marvel Studios Minifigures Series 2. This is the first collectible minifigure series to be found in blind boxes, still at a retail price of $5 in the United States, where it releases September 1st. This was sent to me by LEGO early. Moon Knight is the first of the 12, and I absolutely love this new hood piece they have for Moon Knight, but I also think this is just one of the most detailed minifigures of the series, where there's side leg and arm printing that looks absolutely fantastic. Metallic gold present at the side there and on front of the torso as well. It's dual molded legs, by the way, which looks great. You have a cloth cape at the back, which you can see some more back torso printing lifted up. And what's really interesting about this minifigure is that there's an alternate face to reveal Mark Spector's face, which looks kind of interesting printed on a white base there. He also has two accessories, and I really like that 1x1 print on the circular tile, which you do get an extra of with each copy of this minifigure. Oh, and just to note, every minifigure in the series comes on a plain black plate, and there's also the inclusion of a 1x2 jumper and a clear action pose piece, as with any of the other superhero collectible minifigure series, which gives more dynamic options to display the minifigures. There's a completely separate minifigure for Mr. Knight. This design only has a torso, leg, and head printed for the minifigure itself, which is kind of simple compared to other minifigures of the series, but accurate to the property. You have the bars as an accessory, no side printing anywhere, and here's a look at the back torso printing. But the one aspect that makes this a great minifigure is this 1x2 brick as an accessory. It's part of a build for a fish tank, which uses the gold bar piece in black at the top there and a 1x1 tan plate at the bottom. And this is a very clever interpretation of the fish tank from the show. I love seeing the Lego seaweed piece printed there. And we just usually get prints of fish bowls or minifigure heads. This being a fish tank makes it all the more unique. It is a print that's only on one side of the clear brick at the front of the brick. It's kind of cool to see Werewolf by Night show up because I love Gael Garcia Bernal, who plays the character in the special. And yeah, this is from a special compared to every other minifigure, which is from a Disney Plus show. The design of Werewolf by Night has a completely new hair earpiece, which looks fantastic if you ask me. It looks like it could be rubber, but it's actually a hard plastic. The print at the front is very cool for just the detailing of the fur there. Also the ripped, tattered shorts, which has some great printing at the side. You can see how that's a dual molded leg piece. Some great side arm printing. A double-sided face, which looks fantastic. Also look at the back of the minifigure. The accessory is a 1x1 print of the Bloodstone, which you get an extra of with each copy of the minifigure. One thing is I kind of wish this was in black and white because the whole special is in black and white, so it's kind of weird to see the character in color. Our next minifigure is She-Hulk from her own show. This is our first MCU She-Hulk, but we did get a comic-based version back in 2017. This minifigure has some really cool side leg printing, which I appreciate, and arm printing, both of which are dual molded base pieces, which are cool. The front torso has that nice level of purple and white as well. I like the two faces with the smirk shown. Some back torso printing as well. Her hair piece is actually the same exact one they used with the first She-Hulk we got. That was the comic version, which is kind of funny. And then you have two interesting printed towels as an accessory. One of a cell phone design where Wong is calling her, and the other with a case file for Abomination, which is quite cool. From the Hawkeye show, we have Hawkeye, who's a character we don't really get in MCU sets, so that's kind of cool. The design of this has that nice purple or lavender design for the outfit throughout. It is kind of weird that he doesn't have any leg printing when all the other minifigures in the series have leg printing, but I guess the outfit doesn't really call for it. One thing that's interesting is that the arms are actually dual molded, and that lavender is printed to match the bottom half of the arms, which I didn't notice at first. We also get a completely new arrow piece, which this bow and arrow also comes with Kate in a different color in this series, which we'll get to in a second. The design of this also has a new piece for an owl, which I love seeing this smaller owl, which will probably pop up in some Harry Potter sets soon enough. That's really cool. Oddly enough, it fits through a minifigure neck just about perfectly as if it's its own headpiece. I don't know what's going on there. The design from the back for Hawkeye has that quiver, and you can see some back torso printing. Also, there's an alternate face, which has a bandage and a more stern look. Notice how the hairpiece is one that they used in LEGO Friends starting this year, but it's the first time we're getting it in this color. Kate Bishop is our first LEGO Haley Steinfeld, which is kind of cool because she's a great actress. The design of Kate Bishop has some really nice accessories we'll get to in a second. For now, I love this hairpiece recolor, which is the first time we're getting that specific hairpiece in black, which is fantastic. Unlike Hawkeye, there's actually printing on her legs, which is welcome. The design of this having some really interesting side leg printing on both sides. Also some side arm printing on one of the arms, which is neat. Almost getting a Widowmaker feel for that LEGO minifigure in terms of the color scheme and everything. Back torso has the quiver held, removed. You can see some back torso printing. There's an alternate face as well, much like Hawkeye. This one having another damaged face, which is kind of cool to see. As for the accessories, it's great to see that bow and arrow that's new in that brown color. And then you also get a 2x2 pizza box and Lucky the pizza dog, which is really adorable. New color for that dog, new printing, which is super cute. Love seeing that golden retriever piece appear in more sets, especially in a cheap CMF series, which might be the cheapest set it's ever appeared in. My favorite minifigure of the series, though, is Agatha. I absolutely love the design of this figure with the purple throughout. I mean, it is my favorite color, so I have some bias, but Agatha was great in the show. The design of this having some great torso and dress leg printing. I love to see that hairpiece first introduced in the LEGO Ghostbusters HQ set way back in the day, reappear again in a cheap minifigure. There's some back torso and dress printing, which is really impressive. I don't usually see back dress printing. And this does use a one-hold cape right there, which is kind of interesting to see that work out, and that fits pretty well. For the two faces, I love how one of them captures the winking expression, which is just perfect and straight from the show. There's two accessories, one of which is the Power Blast in purple for the first time, which you know how those work. You push down and they go flying. The second is the Darkhold, which it's cool to see that for Doctor Strange fans, where this does have a new cover print and a new 1x2 tile print inside, which is fantastic. This series celebrates the new X-Men 97 show, which is a Marvel Studios production. The first we'll take a look at is Wolverine, which is kind of the weakest choice of the series if you ask me, because Wolverine is a very common character in LEGO minifigure form. There's X-Men 97 sets rumored next year, and I'm sure they'll include this version of Wolverine or a slightly less detailed version of Wolverine. So it just kind of feels like a wasted space. There is the Wolverine mech last year, though this is the most detailed Wolverine so far, where we have these printed arms, which are pretty fantastic. Part of me does wish they were dual molded though, because there's these shoulder pads at the top, and those would work better as a dual molded sleeve design. Instead, they just kind of end off in the back end of that arm piece, I guess you could say, where there's a bit of a gap there in flesh. There's some great arm hair printing, which is much needed for Wolverine, where we haven't gotten that before. The design of this does have that cool 97 outfit, which looks great with the blues, the yellow, the black, and a little bit of red there. Some side leg printing on dual molded legs, which is neat. This does have two faces, so you have one underneath with the sunglasses, one without sunglasses, which the mask looks a little bit odd with the one without sunglasses on, so you'd probably want to keep the sunglasses on if you're putting the mask. And the set includes that hair piece in black, which is great to see pop up again. It also looks good with the sunglasses look on, and here's a look at the back of the torso. Aside from the claws, he also has a sentinel head as an accessory, which looks pretty neat in its printing. There's also a minifigure for Beast. A fantastic new hair piece is used here. This is dual molded, which looks great, but this is the first Beast we're ever getting in LEGO minifigure form, so that's a much more worthy choice of a CMF for X-Men here than Wolverine. I like the two faces, one of which is much more casual with the glasses, the other one more ferocious. There's some great back torso printing as well. As for the accessories, there's an interesting little microscope. This design has one of the most interesting pieces of the year, where it's this modified 1x1 with a pole pointing down. That's just one part of the build for this microscope, and it wasn't needed, but I'm so glad this was introduced with this figure. Then you also have a mug with the X logo. That's really cool. So yeah, great minifigure if you ask me. And the last of the minifigures for X-Men is Storm. This design is our second Storm, one only appearing back in 2014 in the X-Jet set. And this is a vastly different version based off of X-Men 97. And I think it's a worthy inclusion. It's kind of like She-Hulk in this series, where we haven't gotten her in a while. This is a different version from a specific form of media. The design of this has a really cool new hairpiece. I absolutely love that hairpiece design, which continues to the back there. Really interesting cloth cape piece as well, which goes through the hands. Love how that's built. The design of this having some great torso printing. Unfortunately, no side arm or leg printing, but it wasn't really needed. And just a one-sided face because you can't really hide her other face with that hairpiece specifically. Take a look at the back torso printing. And also she has lightning bolts as an accessory, which getting those in yellow is not exclusive, but it's very uncommon. Specifically, it was last in the DC Superheroes collectible minifigure series from 2020. Echo pops up from her own show, first introduced in Hawkeye. The design of Echo looks fantastic. This might be the second most detailed minifigure of this series, if not the first, because it does have one more new piece compared to Moon Knight. I love the two new pieces here, with the prosthetic leg that is molded so interestingly. That's just going to be super useful once they release that with no printing, or if you want to get ahead of the game, just get some nail polish remover on that. And also this braided hair, which looks really crazy with the printing at the bottom there. Like, I don't expect too many hair pieces to have printing, and there's just a variety of different colors and precise designs at the back. Super, super cool. This is a minifigure with dual molded arms that also has those top shoulder prints, kind of like Wolverine. And if anything, Echo and Wolverine really proves that this needs to be like a triple molded arm or something from Lego, as there's once again that huge gap between what's supposed to be a continuation of the sleeve and that shoulder pad printing that is what it looks to be, but it's supposed to be a continuation of the sleeve. So it's very confusing. It looks kind of odd from the front there, but some fantastic side leg printing and side arm printing looking at the bottom there. This does have a great level of metallic gold at the front, which I really like the shine of. She has two faces as well, which look pretty cool in their dichotomy, and I just like getting different flesh tones with more neutral faces. Her accessory, if I had to be honest, I'm still kind of confused at what they're trying to represent here, so you'll have to help me out in the comments. Regardless, it uses 3 existing pieces with the double-sided short pole and 2 hold studs. Finally, there's Goliath, which is the only minifigure from What If in this series. It's kind of crazy because What If got a lot of minifigures in the last series, and this gets an extra, like really? But I guess this is from season 2. I mean, they did get an extra WandaVision figure in this series with Agatha, but it's Agatha, come on. Goliath seems a little bit more random as a choice, but hey, new Lego Lawrence Fishburne is awesome, so I do appreciate that aspect. And you get a Lawrence Fishburne face underneath, which does have 2 sides. That's kind of cool. So I don't look at him and say, oh yeah, that's Morpheus right away. Regardless, for the helmet on the exterior, I do like seeing that wasp helmet piece with new printing. It actually looks pretty darn cool if you ask me. In general, as much of a random character throw in this is, I like the color scheme of the outfit with that dark blue / kind of purplish color they use. It just looks really interesting for this high-tech suit. Some fantastic side arm and leg printing appears, some back torso printing as well. And for the accessories, you do get that extra hairpiece to swap out, which is that What If T'Challa was Star-Lord from Series 1, which is great to see that hairpiece pop up. But there's also the accessory of Ant-Man, which is a new design. It's similar to the one from 2021, but still just slightly different. So that's it for all the minifigures of this series. A quick word on the packaging. It's so frustrating to see minifigure blind bags change to minifigure blind boxes. It's anti-consumer where you can't tell what's inside. And people say, well, baseball and Yu-Gi-Oh cards are like this. Well, look, Lego minifigure series weren't like this. I'm sorry. It's $5 a pack, and it's quite expensive to collect all the minifigures in this series. I was really happy with the previous format, but the only benefit is that this is better for the environment, so take that as you may. The actual boxes are display boxes of 36 now, 3 series per box, and it's kind of cool to see how those boxes have like 2 characters on the side and then group shots front and back. The leaflets are the same old leaflets you'd expect. Regardless, I'm not sure which series I like better, whether it be Marvel Studios Series 1 or Series 2. I like the variety in this series where this captures a lot of different shows, which is cool. I like seeing one-offs here and there. There are some weird choices, like Wolverine for me is just such an odd choice. Even Goliath, though I like that minifigure a lot. Some fantastic minifigures. I mean, the Moon Knight is one of the most detailed minifigures. Echo is one of the most detailed minifigures in CMF history. Great accessories as well if you don't care about Marvel Studios properties, which I have a soft spot for Lego Marvel, but I'm really going farther and farther away from enjoying the Marvel Studios shows and movies. I don't really care about them that much anymore. So to see some great generic accessories, whether it be new hair pieces, pizza box pieces, different torsos and legs, even a completely new leg design with the prosthetic there, I really welcome that stuff in the legacy of Lego minifigures. So overall, a great series. My favorite is definitely Agatha, but there's some other ones that are just so close behind, whether it be Moon Knight, whether it even be Echo, whether it be Kate Bishop. So yeah, great choices. Let me know which are your favorites in the comments below. Check out the box opening of this series, which was a lot of fun. Subscribe here for more Lego news and reviews. And thanks to Lego for sending me this. And I'll see you later. Peace out. Bye.